Hello lovely people, my name is Nico and I'm the photographer for People Places Asia. In this video we are here in Baguio City, the summer capital of the Philippines, and I'm going to be reviewing and testing out the X-E4 versus the X-T4. This is my friend Andreo. You can find him at Andreo Photo, and he's a photographer based here in Baguio City, and he has the X-T4. So we're to compare and contrast these two cameras and see what our final result is, what we like or dislike, I guess, about the user experience. And he is an avid you use X Pro, X100, XT now, right? Yeah. And
Fuji fanboy.
Fujifilm fanboy, yeah. And I'm familiar and use the XE and XT series, so it'll be cool to kind of compare and contrast. And then later in the video, we're actually gonna switch. So stick around to the end because we're gonna give our final thoughts and our final conclusion on which camera we think is best and which camera is good for which situation. So let's go.
Let's go.
All right. All right, so the X-E4 was a blast to shoot with. The size factor is really great. I don't feel like I'm being intrusive in anybody's moment or in their life or whatever they're doing as they're going about, and I'm trying to capture, you know, these street moments. The technology in this thing is really nice. Autofocus is very fast, very sharp. One downside is that it's not weather sealed. So, you know, this morning it was a little bit overcast, and if it had started to rain, I would have to put this in the bag, and there's nothing I could do about that. Another thing I really like, of course, is that interchangeable lenses. The X-E4 system allows you to put any of the XF or even XC lenses on your camera, so you really have all of the lenses at your fingertips to use while you're going about doing street photography. Overall, I'm impressed. It did really great on the street. Definitely love the form factor, and definitely a nice camera to use for street photography.
Okay, so my thoughts on the X-T4. So I've been using this camera for a while. I upgraded from an X Pro 2, and the first thing I can say is the new sensor is amazingly fast. Autofocus is really fast, and the sensor, basically the processing speed is very fast, and it catches on to focus on things amazingly quick. So that's one noticeable difference. And man, the flip screen is amazing. It makes for doing incognito street photography shots a lot easier, and it also helps with your vertical shots that you can really position the camera around how you want it. EVF, honestly, I don't use the EVF that much. I prefer to use the flip out screen. Yeah, I love the fact that the shutter speed, the ISO, EV compensation are all up here also. So yeah, that's what I like about my X-T4.
Okay everyone, so we are now here at Lemon and Olives, and it's been about 2 weeks since Andrea and I were out on the streets in Baguio City, and so we had an opportunity to really look at the photos, go and kind of dive in, look at the pixel peeping, and just get a good feel for the photos that we took. Personally, I was really impressed with the final result that I was able to get out of both the X-E4 and the X-T4. And so this part now will be like our conclusion, our final thoughts, and where we think both of these cameras fit in to the daily use side of photography and also for the professional side. Okay, so for the first thing with the X-E4 that I really liked was its sleek design, its minimalist feel. I did not find any limitation with the fact that it doesn't have an actual grip on it. I actually kind of like the feel and the overall like performance that I get with the way it is designed. I did find it a little bit challenging at times where I wanted to be using manual focus, that I had to constantly go into the menu settings just to switch the manual to continuous or single focus. So that was a little bit of a downside. However, overall, I really like the simplicity of the button layout for the X-E4. Now, moving to the X-T4, something that was immediate that I noticed was the difference in the EVF. The EVF on the X-T4 is just like a world of a difference in terms of how much bigger it is, I guess how many more pixels you actually get, and then yeah, you just see so much more when you're looking into the X-T4 compared to this X-E4. So I know for some people, I'm sure this will be too small for them, so that might be a downside. For video, it doesn't have IBIS, but if you're using an OIS lens like you saw earlier in this video, it performs perfectly fine. The technology in terms of the specs, the only thing you don't get compared to the X-T4 is the 60 frames per second at 4K. So if that's not a big deal for you, I think this is actually quite a good camera to use for video, probably like a B-roll camera. Another thing that is really, I guess, intuitive and nice with this X-E4 is this flip up screen. So you really can use this for vlogging, and I know some people are probably thinking, oh, well, you got the hot shoe, the video is going to be blocked or the screen will be blocked with your mic. But if you're using one of these lapel type mics that's minimal in its size, I don't think it'll be a big deal. Or if you really want to have full view of the screen, you can buy one of the L mounts where it has an additional hot shoe on the side. So, but this is extremely helpful, and even in our coffee video with Nest Coffee that we did, it was enough that I can, you know, turn it like this and I can see the screen enough to be able to get top-down shots. So my final conclusion on the X-E4 is definitely a perfect camera for everyday use, definitely a great street photography camera, definitely one of those cameras that feels timeless when you go out with it. It looks like a film camera in many ways, and it's a blast. It's so much fun to use.
Okay, so how did I find the X-T4 versus the X-E4? Well, to be honest, one of the most immediate things that I found different from both cameras was the weight. This thing, the X-T4, weighs a ton. It feels like a brick in my hand, honestly. This X-E4, its form factor and its weight is just totally different from the X-T4. Using this X-T4 for street photography, sometimes it's a little taxing on the wrist because of its sheer weight. But when I was using the X-E4 for my street photography with Nico, I found it really lightweight, compact, ergonomic. Honestly, as Nico said, I didn't mind that it didn't have a grip. I appreciated the fact that it was very small and lightweight. With regards to the guts, practically the same. The performance, the autofocus, the sensor, practically the same. The only main difference, I think, would be the dual card slots on the X-T4 for redundancy, and also the battery. The X-T4 uses Fujifilm's new proprietary battery. Maybe Nico can include the item code here, I'm not so sure. But the X-E4 still uses the old NP126S, which is still a good battery in itself. but it also has limited juice compared to the newer proprietary battery of the X-T4. So that is one difference that I would, one stark difference between both cameras. One main gripe about the X-E4 is it doesn't have a dedicated ISO dial as compared to the X-T4, which does, and it also has a dedicated drive dial here. So that is something I found a little bit lacking, but not a deal breaker in my opinion. So final thoughts on the X-E4 versus the X-T4. It's a lightweight street photography machine that can be taken out and played with interchangeable lenses, but it's not weatherproof. So if you want the photo performance of an X-T4 in a much smaller body, I would highly recommend the X-E4. But if you want to go video and photo and maybe do professional work, as Nico also mentioned, I would go with the X-T4. Thank you to Nico, People Places Asia, for inviting me along to this vlog. And thank you also to Fujifilm Philippines for sending this to People Places Asia for him to test out.
Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope this video gave you a little bit of information and insight on the X-E4 versus the X-T4. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to check out Andreo Photo on Instagram and on YouTube. Give him a subscribe and follow, and I hope you guys are having a great day when you're watching this video. So thank you so much, take care, and God bless.